It was a bright, beautiful summer day, and the neighborhood kids were laughing and playing in the park. But 8-year-old Chris wasn't among them. No matter how much his parents coaxed, he refused to leave his spot on the couch. Something was clearly wrong. After trying everything they could think of, Chris's parents decided to sit down and talk to him directly. His mom gently asked, "Chris, why don't you want to go outside and play? You usually love the park. Did something happen?" Chris hesitated, his small hands gripping the edge of the couch tightly. Finally, he looked up at them with wide, fearful eyes and whispered, "I can't go outside. I saw something. Something scary." His parents exchanged a concerned glance. "What did you see, sweetheart?" his dad asked, trying to keep his voice calm. Chris's voice trembled as he answered, "A monster. I saw a monster in the bushes by the park." The word monster caught them off guard. "What kind of monster?" his mom asked, leaning closer. Chris described a terrifying creature with long, sharp teeth, glowing red eyes, and a low growl that sent shivers down his spine. Though skeptical, his parents could see how scared Chris was and knew they needed to address his fears. "Let's go check it out together," his dad suggested. "We'll prove there's nothing to be afraid of." Chris hesitated but agreed, clutching his mom's hand tightly as they walked toward the park. The sight of children running around and laughing did little to ease his fear as they approached the bushes he'd pointed out. His dad crouched down and began searching through the greenery while his mom stood close, keeping Chris calm. They found nothing unusual at first, just leaves and twigs. But just as they were about to reassure Chris, his dad noticed something odd. "Wait," he said, brushing away some debris. Beneath the bushes was a small, hidden opening in the ground, partially covered by a loose rock. The discovery sent a chill through all of them. What could be hiding down there? They lifted the rock and peered inside. To their astonishment, a pair of glowing red eyes stared back at them. Chris clutched his mother's hand tightly, trembling. But as the monster emerged from the darkness, the truth came into focus. It was just a stray cat, its reflective eyes glowing eerily in the dim light. Relieved, Chris's parents called animal control. The cat, though skittish, was safely captured and taken to a nearby shelter where it could be cared for. Chris was hesitant but eventually approached the cat, realizing it wasn't so scary after all. Later, his parents sat him down to explain how our imaginations can sometimes make harmless things seem frightening. They reassured him that the world wasn't full of monsters and praised him for being brave. Chris felt a wave of relief and newfound courage. From that day on, he was no longer afraid to explore the world outside. But the story didn't end there. While helping clean up the park after the cat incident, Chris's father stumbled upon something peculiar among the overgrown weeds, a neatly folded note. Curious, he unfolded it and found it covered in strange, almost illegible writing interspersed with cryptic symbols. The sight of it sent a shiver down his spine. What was this note doing here, and why was it hidden? To avoid alarming Chris, he didn't mention the discovery right away. Instead, he brought the note home and began trying to decipher it. Late into the night, he pored over old books and scoured online forums, hoping to make sense of the symbols and their meaning. After days of meticulous research, the mystery started to unravel. The note detailed instructions for performing an ancient ritual. It also pinpointed a specific location in the park and specified that the ritual had to be conducted at midnight on a particular night. Unable to shake a sense of responsibility, Chris's father decided not to ignore the note's implications. On the appointed night, he confided in a neighbor who had a keen interest in folklore and ancient legends. Together, they ventured into the park under the cover of darkness. The moon cast a faint glow, and the stillness of the night amplified their unease as they made their way to the designated spot. As they began following the instructions on the note, an unnatural chill swept through the park. The temperature seemed to drop several degrees, and the symbols on the note began to faintly glow, as though responding to their actions. Each step of the ritual felt increasingly surreal, but they pressed on, curiosity and trepidation pushing them forward. When the final step was completed, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Leaves scattered, and a low rumble echoed through the park. Before their astonished eyes, a hidden door slowly emerged from the earth, revealing a dark, foreboding tunnel leading underground. The two men exchanged uneasy glances, both wondering what secrets lay beneath and whether they should dare to find out. With flashlights in hand, they cautiously descended into the tunnel, the darkness pressing in around them. The air was thick with dust, and the walls were etched with ancient cryptic markings that seemed to tell a story long forgotten. As they ventured deeper, the faint beam of their flashlights illuminated a small, hidden chamber. Inside, they found what appeared to be the remnants of an old, abandoned laboratory. Papers and books lay scattered across the floor, and strange, rusted equipment stood silent, draped in cobwebs. At the center of the room sat a large, leather-bound book, coated in a thick layer of dust and locked with an intricate mechanism. Chris's father hesitated, feeling a mix of excitement and unease. Slowly, he approached the book and brushed off the dust, revealing detailed drawings and notes about peculiar experiments and unusual creatures, one of which matched Chris's description of the monster. Realizing the gravity of their discovery, they carefully collected as many materials as they could carry and returned to the surface. Over the next several days, Chris's father and his neighbor pored over the findings. They'd uncovered a startling history of secret experiments conducted by a long-forgotten scientist who once lived in the area. The notes revealed that the scientist had been attempting to create new life forms, and some of his creations had apparently escaped into the surrounding wilderness. It was time to share the truth with the family. Chris's father gathered everyone and explained the findings. He reassured Chris that the monsters he had feared weren't supernatural, but rather the results of misguided scientific experiments. Chris listened with wide-eyed fascination, his fears slowly giving way to curiosity. What once terrified him now intrigued him. As a family, they decided to inform local authorities and historians about their discovery. The hidden laboratory and its strange contents became a subject of great interest, attracting researchers, historians, and visitors eager to uncover its secrets. The revelation turned the park into a hub of scientific curiosity, its once ordinary grounds now steeped in mystery and history. For Chris, this experience was transformative. His fear of the unknown had been replaced by a deep-seated desire to explore and understand the world around him. Encouraged by his parents, he began to see the unknown not as a source of terror, but as an opportunity for discovery. They took him on trips to museums, libraries, and nature reserves, nurturing his curiosity and teaching him to approach the unfamiliar with a rational mind and a courageous heart. Years later, Chris pursued a career in science, inspired by the events of his childhood. He dedicated his life to unraveling the mysteries of the natural world, always remembering the moment he confronted his fear and uncovered a hidden secret buried in his own backyard. The park, once just a simple playground, became a symbol of adventure and the untold stories waiting to be discovered. For Chris, that summer day marked the beginning of a lifelong journey into the wonders of the unknown. Chris often visited the park with his own children, recounting the incredible discovery he made there as a boy. The tale of the mysterious note, the hidden laboratory, and the lessons he learned became cherished family lore. For Chris, the experience was a reminder that our greatest fears sometimes lead to our most profound discoveries. The story of Chris and the monster in the park grew into a beloved legend, inspiring curiosity and bravery in all who heard it. But the tale didn't end there. As Chris's father delved deeper into the materials from the hidden laboratory, he realized that Dr. Carter, the scientist behind the experiments, was more than a lone innovator. Carter had been a member of a clandestine organization known as the Society of the Serpent and the Owl, a secretive group dedicated to unlocking ancient knowledge and pushing the limits of science. Their symbol, An intricately entwined serpent and owl was stamped across documents, equipment, and even etched into the walls of the hidden lab. The more Chris's father uncovered, the more complex the story became. Dr. Carter's experiments in creating new life forms were just a fragment of the society's work. This network of rogue scientists operated in secrecy for decades, conducting research that was considered both unethical and dangerous. They delved into forbidden realms of science, from genetic manipulation to time distortion, often with catastrophic consequences. Determined to uncover the truth, Chris's father embarked on a journey of discovery. He visited dusty libraries, consulted with historians, and explored other sites mentioned in Dr. Carter's documents. These locations included abandoned buildings, forgotten archives, and even remote wilderness areas. Each stop revealed new clues, piecing together the society's enigmatic history. The Society of the Serpent and the Owl had a far-reaching influence, with chapters in major cities and a trove of artifacts and knowledge accumulated through their perilous experiments. Chris's father was astounded by the depth of their reach. However, this newfound knowledge came with a sense of foreboding. He realized that powerful individuals, those who still upheld the society's secrets, would not take kindly to their history being exposed. Strange occurrences began to disturb his quiet life. Unfamiliar cars with tinted windows parked outside his home. Strangers loitered in the neighborhood, their gazes lingering a moment too long. Odd phone calls, filled with static and abrupt silence, became more frequent. It was clear his investigation had drawn attention. Chris's father, though unsettled, remained resolute. He took precautions, safeguarding the documents he had uncovered and sharing his findings only with trusted allies. He considered involving authorities but hesitated, unsure if anyone could truly protect him from a group as shadowy and influential as the society. As the danger grew, Chris's father faced a difficult choice, whether to continue his pursuit of the truth or retreat to protect his family. Yet the story of the Society of the Serpent and the Owl was far from over. Its legacy, intertwined with Chris's childhood discovery, hinted at deeper mysteries waiting to be unraveled. One evening, Chris's father returned from a research trip to find his study in complete disarray. Every document, artifact, and clue he had painstakingly collected about the Society of the Serpent and the Owl was gone. On his desk lay a single chilling note: "Stop digging, or there will be consequences." Despite the ominous warning, Chris's father refused to back down. Determined to uncover the truth, he reached out to a network of researchers, historians, and academics who had shown interest in the society's activities. Together, they formed a coalition dedicated to exposing the clandestine group. Sharing information and resources, they worked tirelessly to unravel the society's secrets while ensuring each other's safety. Their investigations soon uncovered troubling information. The society was planning a new experiment, one that could have catastrophic consequences if left unchecked. The clues led them to an abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town, once owned by a prominent society member. The coalition suspected that the mansion was the site of the society's latest experiment. On a stormy night, armed with determination and the weight of evidence, Chris's father and his allies approached the mansion. The building loomed before them, shrouded in shadows, its windows shattered and ivy creeping across its facade. From inside, eerie sounds filled the air, the hum of machinery mingled with guttural growls and unsettling chants. Inside, they discovered a scene straight out of a nightmare. Society members were conducting their experiment under the direction of a tall, imposing leader with piercing eyes. The room was filled with strange, glowing equipment and cages housing grotesque, mutated creatures. At the center of it all, the leader was chanting an incantation, his voice echoing ominously. Chris's father and his allies confronted the society, revealing their secrets and demanding an end to their dangerous work. The society members, steadfast in their belief that their experiments were for the greater good, refused to stop. The confrontation grew tense, but the coalition was prepared. They had already alerted the authorities and gathered irrefutable evidence of the society's unethical practices. Just as the situation reached a boiling point, the authorities arrived. The mansion was searched from top to bottom, and the society's equipment, documents, and creatures were seized as evidence. The experiment was halted, and the society's activities were exposed to the world. The media quickly picked up the story, and soon, the Society of the Serpent and the Owl became a subject of national fascination and condemnation. The society's hidden history of unethical experiments and dangerous ambitions was laid bare, serving as a cautionary tale about the risks of unchecked scientific pursuits. Chris's father, hailed as a local hero, was celebrated for his courage and determination in bringing the truth to light. The hidden laboratory beneath the park was preserved as a historical site, a reminder of the dangers of hubris and the importance of ethical science. For Chris, the park, once a place of fear, became a symbol of adventure and discovery. He grew up inspired by his father's bravery and dedication, pursuing a career as a scientist committed to truth and ethical responsibility. The story of Chris and the monster in the park became a legend passed down through generations, inspiring curiosity, courage, and a love for discovery. The park itself transformed into a haven where children played, families explored, and the wonders of nature and history came alive. It stood as a testament to the idea that even our deepest fears can lead to the greatest revelations.